Now, in his first delivery of a main budget speech tomorrow, as we said, Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene is expected to walk a very tight rope as he tries to balance public expenditure needs against slowing revenues. He's warned South Africans that higher taxes are on the cards, but speculation is rife as to whether or not he'll be able to do that. This as all players in the economy, including individuals and corporates, try to weather the current storm of economic discontent.
An unenviable economic environment for even the cleverest of finance ministers. Nhlanhla Nene is faced with a low-growth environment which has resulted in lower than previously budgeted tax revenues. Meanwhile, the priorities of education, health and social grants, among others, still remain. And any temptation to increase the country's debt to fund these priorities runs the risk of international ratings agencies waiting in the wings, downgrading the country's sovereign credit rating yet further. Analysts believe it's going to be tough for the minister to keep the fiscal deficit in check.
Technically, for him to keep deficit in check, he would have to raise taxes. That's an option. But if he raises taxes now, corporate taxes or personal taxes, it's not going to bring in the cash that he needs to contain the deficit. The only tax that will bring in cash is VAT. But raising VAT is putting a lot of burden on the poor. And with the level of poverty that we have in the country, that becomes almost untenable. So we have a very difficult configuration.
At his mid-term budget speech in October, Nene indicated that tax increases were a possibility. Many who point out that South Africa is a highly unequal society suggest that he should target the rich. But pursuing the wealthy through capital gains tax could have unintended consequences if they decide to take their capital elsewhere. Additionally, on a cash basis, such an approach is unlikely to accrue much to the fiscus.
Typically, wealth tax, the CGT on individuals is something like 2 billion out of a total collection from individuals around about 300 billion. So it just gives you a sense. Putting up the rates there is not going to contribute anything like the extra revenue that he's looking for.
Joubert suspects that the marginal personal income tax rate may be raised from the current 40% by a couple of percentage points. Another option could be to raise the fuel levies to take advantage of substantially lower oil prices. But such a move could prove unpopular if and when oil prices rebound to higher levels. In the long term, though, key challenges need to be addressed to promote a more competitive economy and, in turn, economic growth.
We need to take what it takes to get our economy growing between 5 and 7% continuously for something between 15 to 20 years. Not 2 to 3 years. That's what will break the back of unemployment. The second, and parallel with getting growth going, we need to deal with our education problem. We cannot have graduates coming out of all kinds of institutions with a mismatch between their skills and the skills that our economy needs.
With very limited fiscal space, many commentators say beyond the budget, government will need to stand firm as it negotiates with public sector workers this year. Government spend on public salaries accounts for around 40% of its total expenditure, and some public sector workers are demanding a 15% wage increase. This against a backdrop where inflation has eased, coming in at 4.4% in January on an annual basis. Nompumelelo Siziba, SABC News, Johannesburg.